What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's project for the Hyperblue Evo 8 is, you guessed it, the transmission. So we're gonna be completely tearing this thing apart, pretty much doing exactly what we did to the transfer case. Get the housing, or like the housing, I guess you could call it, of the transmission completely cleaned up. We're gonna be Cerakoting it because it's gonna be beautiful. And when we're all finished up, we can throw it back together. I feel like we are kind of getting a little bit out of hand with like how kind of crazy we're going, cleaning everything up. It is super exciting. So yeah, let's just dive right into it. This is another one of those things I've never really messed with. I have torn into Subaru trannies before, never an Evo tranny, so this is new to me. I'm excited. Let's jump into it. Right here is where the shifter selector sits, and as you can see, we have it all torn apart. We have some of those arms at zinc. So you go ahead and pop that off. All of the case bolts are also at zinc, so there's only a few holding this thing together. Might as well pop this wiring harness off. Should be a clip down here. Get the harness out of the way. We're gonna pull off the clutch fork, take out the throwout bearing, remove the few bolts that we have holding the case halves together. I believe these two bolts right here hold the actual gear shafts in place, so we're gonna have to pull those bolts out. And then we should be able to split the case. I think this is gonna be quite a bit less complicated than the transfer. The transfer wasn't really all that bad, but I think this is gonna be even easier. All right, so I did a complete ass job of explaining what was even going on here, but here I am trying to pull this transmission apart, and as you can see, it came apart a little bit, but it is stuck. And if you flip this thing over, I flipped it over back and forth like 20 times, and as you can see, it finally came apart. So right there, that plug right there, you have to take that plug off. There's a snap ring under that plug holding one of the shaft bearings in place, and you have to have that snap ring spread apart to separate the transmission halves. And now we have this freaking transmission on the ground, and we had to completely disassemble all the shift forks from the shift pins, pull everything out, and if you can look on the ground, there's like 8 balls floating around. So that was fun, but we finally got it apart. I said before I pulled this tranny apart that it was going to be fun and easier than the transfer case. That has proven to be a lie. If you're going to pull apart a transmission for fun, please don't let it be a 6-speed Evo tranny. Every like write-up or video I found online were all 5 speeds, and it was very simple. You literally unbolt the 2 case halves and the whole gear set with the shift forks all come out together. This one was quite a bit different. We had to individually pull out each fork, each pin. There was like 10 balls that we need to figure out where they go. All the balls sit in between these things right here. So we're gonna have to figure that out, but yeah. When I started this tranny process many hours ago now, I thought it'd be fun. And quite honestly, it's been one of the bigger headaches I've had in a while. It's rough. No more pulling apart stuff until we get like the transfer case 100% situated, the engine 100% situated, and the transmission 100% situated. If we're gonna do anything else on this car, we gotta get those 3 things done first. This is stressful. All right, so here's where we're at right now. Complete tranny is disassembled. We are ready to move on to cleaning. We are gonna be glass beading the case halves once again, just like the transfer case, and Cerakoting it clear, and it should look absolutely amazing when it's all finished up. We need to run through, just pull everything out. These little baffle shield things are gonna come out. All the seals, there's no bearings in the case halves. All the bearings are on the shafts themselves. They're pressed onto the shafts, so we don't have to worry about that. Seals are gonna come out, bearing races are gonna stay. And what else? There's a little magnet right here. Pull that magnet out. And then we're gonna bring everything over. We're gonna set it on that table. We are gonna clean it and clean it and clean it and clean it 1,000 times. And then we can move on to sandblasting. So we got the cases all cleaned up, sandblasted. We're not actually gonna be coating these clear, and here's the reason for it. So this one is glass beaded. This one was shot in the blaster with the more abrasive sand, which is called green diamond. You can see on this glass beaded one, when it's a bit more shiny, you can see like all the previous pitting and corrosion and kind of like darker colored staining and whatnot. And that would not come off in the blaster. So we really had two options. Option one was to just send it, clear coat them, and not worry about it being a little bit stained up, even though we're so close to making it perfect. Or option two is to order up some silver Cerakote, wait until tomorrow because we can get it overnighted today. It'll show up tomorrow and we can Cerakote these silver tomorrow. And that is the option that we decided to go with, just because I want them 100% perfect or as close to perfect as we can get them. All the prep work is done. The only thing we have to do from here is coat them, and might as well do it right. Correct? Correct. In the meantime, all of the stuff at powder coat is finished up. So all the three pieces that we could not do here, subframe, cross member piece, and the sway bar. So let's jump in the Evo. Let's go pick those up. It's a bit of a drive. Might as well drive something fun. And probably the most fun car that I own is the Black 8. So let's rip. All right, it's the next day. All of the parts are chilling here and they look absolutely amazing. Big thank you to Limitless Coatings for getting these pieces done for us. These three were shot in ink black, which is a very, very high gloss black, as you guys can see. My boys over at UPS decided they didn't want to deliver our Cerakote today, so we cannot move forward with this transmission probably until tomorrow, which is okay because we still have so much other stuff to get done. We're still waiting on the head to get back from the machine shop, so we can't work on the motor. But what we can do is continue on with powder coating. So we have all the stuff up here. This is all gonna be Cerakoted. All this is gonna stay bare aluminum and look amazing. All the stuff down here is gonna go that same ink black. We have the knuckles, we have the brake dust shields, all of the parts for the CV axles. Instead of today's objective being the transmission and getting that thing 100%, along with the transfer case, we still need to figure out that pinion nut, and you guys had a lot of good comments, so I need to read through those and come up with a solution for that. Now the objective for the day is to get everything powder coated that needs to be coated. That's what we're gonna be doing. This is the entire pile of parts that we're currently going to be powder coating. There may be more in the future, but this is everything for now. This here is everything we need to powder coat. We have the powder coat gun, which is a Redline Easy 50, giant bag of ink black powder from Prismatic, the world's best powder coat manufacturer in the world. They have so many colors and very, very high quality powders as well. And other than that, all you're gonna need is the parts, and we got our nice little oven over there that I know we need to upgrade because it's not very nice. I'll have Prismatic powders linked down in the description box below, as well as the specific gloss black powder that we're using. And then I'll throw this gun down in the description box below as well. All right, let's get started. We gotta set up the gun. We already have our shop space kind of cleared out. Powder doesn't matter if you get overspray on anything. That car's already dirty, and that car's already dirty, and this car's already dirty. It blows right off with just compressed air or water. It's not like paint where it gets stuck on there. No worries about that. So to start, we are going to pre-bake some items. So everything's gonna be pre-baked for about 20 minutes. It's called outgassing. It's pretty much gonna get any sort of oils or any sort of residue that's stuck in the material out, so we can properly coat it and not have any sort of reactions, powder versus oil. It doesn't work too well. All these are fresh out of the sandblaster. There's still sand on them, so we're gonna go through, blow them off with compressed air, hose them down with water, throw them in the oven, 20 minutes, outgas, pull them out, let them cool down, spray on the powder, and throw them back in the oven. This specific powder goes 400 degrees for 12 minutes part metal temperature. If you're ever shooting any sort of prismatic powder, all you have to do is jump on their site and you just click on the application guide, and I'll tell you right there. As soon as these parts hit 400 degrees on the infrared thermometer, we're gonna start the timer for 12 minutes. Jeez, that is glossy. Damn, it's gonna look good. Of course, a lot of this stuff does need to be masked off. The shaft right here needs to be masked. The knuckles, CV axle parts, threads on this motor mount, of course the oil pan and that fuel rail, all that stuff needs to be masked off. Grab some tape. I will have this tape linked down below if y'all wanna pick some up. It's like $20 on Amazon for a roll. And it doesn't burn or melt in the oven. It's made for high temperature masking. And then any hole like this where the injectors go, we need to plug those as well. So I have this little bag of plugs. We're just gonna stick them in there. Of course, these are high temp as well. Before we move on to the next batch of parts, I do wanna figure out how to get these CV axles completely apart. We still have the internals on the outer CVs installed, and I'm pretty sure we can get those apart pretty easily. So let's mess around with that real quick, see what we can figure out. It was very easy to pull the CV apart. You just have to kind of know how it works. So all you have to do when this little cage is sitting down in there, you'll just twist the cage like this, exposing these little balls, and you just simply pull those balls out. And then this whole cage assembly will pop out. Easy enough. Our first little batch of parts are all finished up. As you can see, they look pretty much brand new. I love this color. It's such a deep gloss black. All right, you guys ready for this? This is beautiful. That was a ton of work, very, very long process, but the end result is so nice. Really excited to start throwing this car back together, especially that like everything is done. The subframe's done, the sway bar is done. We even did the oil pan. The oil pan was kind of a B word, just because obviously there's a lot of oil in it. We had to burn that oil out of there and then clean it, or else we couldn't have powder coated it. There was like a ton of oil stuck under this little welded on section right there. So it was well worth it in the end. Everything was well worth it in the end. Ah, that looks beautiful. I'm glad we finally got the powder coat day out of the way. It was a lot of fun. It's a big stress, big relief off my shoulders because I knew it was gonna take forever. If we had a giant oven, we could have done a ton of parts at once, but there was like 8 different cycles or 8 different times we had to put parts in the oven. So it took a very long time. I think this is a good stopping point for today. Nothing else we can do until we get some other stuff in the mail, or we get the head back, or we get some hardware back. Drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think of all these powder coated parts. Biggest shout out and thank you to Prismatic Powders for supplying the ink black. Everything we used today, including the powder, will be linked down in the description box below. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out. I'll see you tomorrow.